Hey guys, Nick here from Nick's Taxes, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to use TurboTax, the free version, to file your own taxes from the comfort of your own laptop or phone. I'm going to jump on my phone here and share my screen and show you just how easy it can be. For the purposes of today's video, I'm going to use a simple tax return as an example. So a T4, so employment income, a T5 for bank interest. We're going to have some RRSP contributions and some student loan interests. So let's jump right into it. I'll grab my phone and I will share my screen now. All right, guys, so here we go. First thing we're going to do is Google TurboTax Canada. Make sure you get the Canadian version, not the American version. So look for that .ca and click on the link. From here, you're going to enter in your account. So either you have an account or you need to sign up. I already have an account, so I'm going to log in. So there you go. It takes me to the sign in section. I'm going to enter in my ID and I'll see you on the other side. All right, here we go. So from here, you can look at your returns. I'm going to hit start a new return and it's going to click me to start your new return at the bottom of the page. From here, it's going to kind of run you through some different prompts. So for me, this is an option for TurboTax to try to upsell based on what kind of information you do have. So I'm just going to scroll to the bottom after I show you these options and just hit I'll do my taxes by my own for free. So that's the $0 option. You can see these other options that are there. But if we are using the free version, I'm just going to go in and click on that free version, scroll down to the bottom, and hit that file for $0. So here we go. Welcome to TurboTax. Who are you preparing for? You're going to put yourself. For this example, I'm putting someone else because I've already filed my taxes. But here you go. You start following the prompts. Who are you preparing this for? You're going to put your name. I'm going to put in here test because obviously this is just an example. But TurboTax will use that name for the entirety of the tax return. So on December 31st, put your marriage status. I'm putting it as single without any changes of marital status in the previous year. All right, did you support any children or any other person? Most of you did not, so I definitely didn't. So I'm going to hit no. And now it's going to ask you for your personal info, so your name, last name, your birthday, social insurance number, and the English. The ones with asterisks obviously are ones that you need to enter, so make sure you enter that information. I'm here putting English, and I'll enter in that other information. Are you a Canadian citizen? Most of us are yes. In this question, you may answer yes or no depending on if you want to give your information to the CRA or not. I put no. Then it's going to ask if you're an Indian. If you filed the tax return before, I'm going to say I have. So in this case, I'm putting no. I have filed a tax return in the past. And then it's going to ask you if you need to file a tax return in the previous year right now. And I'm going to put no as well, assuming that we have filed a return before. So now it's going to ask our residency, what province we lived in, our address, and so on and so forth. So enter in your province where you lived at the end of the year. So for me, for this sake, for an example, we're just going to put Ontario. But you put the province, obviously, in which you lived. Next, it's going to ask if you changed your residency. If you stayed in Canada for the full year, odds are you did not change your residency. Again, we're doing a simple example here, so no change of residency. And now it wants to know your mailing address. Enter your current mailing address. If you have moved, enter the one that you're living in now. In case the CRA is providing you with mail, you want your current address because you don't want the CRA sending you communications to an old address. You want to make sure you receive these. So obviously I'm putting in an example here. So I'm doing 123 Test Street in Toronto, Ontario. But obviously you want to enter in your own information here. enter your postal code. Again, I'm just making this up on the fly. And then your phone number is not mandatory, so I skip that. And then the box here, if that address is currently where you live, often it will be. All right, did you own any foreign property outside of Canada more than $100,000? I'm assuming that most of us do not. If you do, there's a separate form to fill out, and TurboTax would prompt you to complete that form based on your answering of this question, but here I'm going to put no. Did you dispose of any property that was your principal residence? So basically, did you sell your house? I'm putting no. Were you incarcerated or in prison? Did you have a mental or physical impairment? No. So again, this is TurboTax just getting your personal information, figuring out what you may have, who you are. So the next screen is just kind of giving you updates on what's going on with Canada Tax. So I'm skipping through. And here it's going to say it wants you to autofill your return using CRA. So if you already have things uploaded to the CRA, like your T4 or T5 or something, you can get that imported. I'm going to skip that, but if you want to try it, you hit that launch site right there. But for this example, I'm going to skip that, and I'm just going to manually input everything, assuming that all my slips are beside me, and I'm just going to roll through them. So now we're going to enter the rest of our information. You can look to the sidebar there. It kind of has a running tally of your refund or balance due, and then kind of all the different categories of the tax return on the side there you can jump to. But I'm just going to let the software kind of run me through the prompts. So first part, we're going to enter in our income. So we're going to continue here. Do you have income to report? Now we use this little add button here if we do have income to search what kind of income we have. So I hit add, and we have a T4. So I'm going to enter in T4, and the T4 thing is going to pop up. I'm going to hit that prompt and hit go. It's going to take me to the T4 summary page, and this is where I'm going to enter in my T4. So add T4 for test. Test is obviously the name I picked, so it would say, if your name's like Bob, it would say add T4 for Bob. You can enter in your name and all this information here. So each box corresponds with the box on the T4. So it really eliminates any guesswork. So these are all the boxes that might be on your T4, and obviously you want to fill in the correct boxes based on what you have on your T4. So there's quite a bit, but I'm going to fill out just an example here. I'm just going to make this up on the fly. This is all hypothetical. Province of employment being Ontario, and then I'm going to say we made $35,000, and we had income tax deducted of let's say $8,000. And then often there will be CPP contributions. So I'll enter in a dummy number here along with information on box 24. I'll just enter in another dummy number here. Most of the time it's the same amount of the employment income. Same for box 26. And this might be what your T4 looks like as well. Don't forget the EI premiums. Most likely you paid those. So that might be a typical T4. Obviously just with made up numbers here. So there we go. Always double check your numbers, make sure you inputted everything correctly, and then hit save and continue. Now it's gonna, if you did mess up, you can always go back, hit that edit button or delete. And if you have more T4s, you can add one there, but I'm just gonna hit continue. And I have more income to add after, but here's just the summary of all the income. And there it updates my refund or balance due on the top there. Currently, based on what I entered in, I'm in a refund position, and I can review all my income here in this summary page. Now there's a bit more I wanted to add, and I will go up there and add it. But if you're done, you can just hit continue at the bottom there. So here we go. I'm going to add my T5, investment income. And I know I have a T5 because I have the slip in front of me. And this is interest earned from having a bank account and interest earned off the money I have in my bank. So here are the boxes again. They correspond exactly with what would be on the T5 slip. So most of us will have interest from Canadian sources. So box 13, I'm going to enter in just 155 bucks and make sure the source of that interest is indeed bank interest. You can see there are other options as well. And that is it for my T5. Always give it a review. Make sure you didn't miss anything. And if you have another one, you can enter it in or you can hit done. And again, it'll update the refund status and it'll update my income summary. I can always look into these details and I'm going to hit continue. Now it's going to try to upsell by getting a tax expert to review my return for 70 bucks. But I am not going to upgrade. If you want to, go ahead. Now this is the RRSP section. For this example, we're going to pretend we have an RRSP. Most of us do. So it's going to take us to this RRSP optimizer. Again, I think this is an upsell. You can unlock this RRSP optimizer, I think, with the premium version, but you just hit continue, follow the prompts. Do you have RRSP information? So yes, I do. I'm going to not continue without it. I'm going to add my RRSP information. So I'm going to search RRSP. It's going to take me to this profile, and then I have some boxes here saying test. And then it gives you a bunch of options. So if you made contributions during 2019 or whatever tax year it is, that applies to us. Here's some other things. If you have a home buyer's plan or a lifelong learning plan, or if you wanted to carry forward your RRSPs, you know, these are all boxes that you can click and TurboTax will prompt you in the upcoming slides. So what's your RRSP deduction limit is the first question it's going to ask next. So this is going to come right from your notice of assessment. So you might have a paper version or an online version from your CRA My account, but it will be pretty clear once you have your notice of assessment how much your contribution limit is. And here's a sample of what you're looking for on your notice of assessment. It'll say right there your RRSP deduction limit for, and then the tax year, and TurboTax even circles it in red for you. So now I'm going to enter my RRSP contributions. So you can put the name of your issuer if you want, and you select the contribution period either during the tax year or the first 60 days of the following tax year. I'm going to choose that current tax year. And amount of contributions, again, I'm just making this up. I'm going to say 550 bucks. And you know what? I'm going to enter one more after for the first 60 days just to show you. So I'm going to switch this now. I'm entering my second slip for the first 60 days of 2020, and I'm going to say $300 even. I contributed to my RRSP before March 2nd of 2020. So there we go. Gives you your summary here. I got my $550 contribution and my $300 contribution there. You can always edit it or make changes if you realized you made a mistake or forgot to add something. But yeah, always go slow and look things over as you're going. There's that RRSP optimizer again. It's telling me to take the full contribution limit, which we are. But yeah, not much here. So I'm going to hit continue. Again, it's going to take me to the full summary page. It's going to update my refund here that I'm checking on from the sidebar. And there's my RRSP contributions. Looks good from my end, so I'm going to keep scrolling to the bottom. I'm going to hit continue. And now it's the deductions. So this is another opportunity to lower your taxes. So I'm going to hit continue here. And for this example, we said that I had some student loan interest, and that's going to be a common one for a lot of us millennials. So again, this is just a summary. I just hit that more button to make sure that my RRSP contributions popped up, which they did. There's my net income as it currently stands based on my credits and deductions and income that I've entered. So I'm just giving it a quick review now before I enter in my deductions. I'm hitting add here. And now I'm going to type in student, and the student profile will pop up. So there she is. And again, much like the RSP, I have some boxes that I need to check off for the ones that are applicable to me. So for us, we said we have some student loan interest paid. So I'm going to click that box there, and I'm going to keep scrolling down to the bottom and hit continue. And again, I'm just going to enter in my student loan interest. And for this example, I'm going to say I had $148 of student loan interest. And if there was any I forgot to pay, you can enter it in these boxes. Hit continue. It's going to update my student summary. You can give that a review once you've entered it in. Make sure everything's right. And if you have more deductions, obviously you can enter those in. I just checked my current refund, and now I'm going over the summary one more time. Now we're going to go into the provincial credits. So I said for this example, we're doing an Ontario tax return. So there we go, Ontario. And there's some provincial credits that you can apply for. A lot of these you'll have to look into yourself if you do qualify. But the one that pretty much everyone qualifies for is the Climate Action Incentive. So I'm keeping that box checked, but there's some other ones that you might want to look into. And these are nice. They have links for most of them, so you can look into those. If your income's at a certain level, you could apply for this Trillium benefit in Ontario. The most common one I see for young people is based off of the rent or property tax that was paid during 2019. And you can just kind of go through these, read them, and see if they apply to you. And obviously, if they apply, you just go to that box and change it from no to yes. I'm going to say no for now. And here it's going to ask me my rent or property tax paid in 2019. So I'm going to just enter in that information. I'm going to pretend that I rented. So I'm going to go to rent, but you can see these other options here. And I'm going to just select the rent option. I'm going to put the address. I think it was 123 Test Street. I'm just going to enter that in. Number of months, we'll say 8 months. And the amount paid, we'll just make up a number here. How much would rent be in Toronto for 8 months? I don't know. We'll just say $2,000. And then at the bottom, you can put the municipality or the name of the landlord. What should I put? I'll just put Toronto. But I would recommend putting the name of your landlord in there. So I'm going to hit continue. And this is going to ask how you want your Trillium benefit to be paid out if you do qualify, whether in lump sums or kind of installment sort of payments. And then there's a residence credit as well. I'm hitting continue. And this is information on the Climate Action Incentive. Certain provinces do have this refundable credit in place. So Ontario is one of those provinces. So it does ask you some questions here that refer to the Climate Action Incentive. Go through those. It says I'm eligible, sweet. Now it's asking if I'm eligible for more if I lived outside of kind of these big cities here. So I picked Toronto, and Toronto is on that list, so I'm going to hit no. And good news, got some credits. Sweet. So there it is, $224 from the Climate Action Incentive. And I'm going to just hit continue. So here's the summary for my Ontario tax. Go through it at your own leisure. I'm going to scroll to the bottom. There's my tax payable for Ontario. There's a lot of different things here for the provinces. But don't get overwhelmed because a lot of it doesn't apply to you. You want to make sure you're only dealing with things that apply to you. So now we're pretty much done. We're going to go into the review section, and this is where it's going to go over our profile. And if anything sticks out that we might think is wrong, we can always go back and edit. But there you go. There's our profile. See, missing something, you can find it there. I'm going to hit continue. Here we go. TurboTax being the free version, asking for an upsell, another $70 for a review. I'm going to hit no thanks. I am a tax accountant, so I think I know what I'm doing. Here's a warning. I figure out how to avoid this. It's always asking for TOSI. So I just hit review here. If you have any other warnings, they would pop up here as well. So I'm going to click on applies to me to indicate whether I have tax on split income. You can always hit ignore as well if the warning doesn't seem to go away or if it doesn't apply to you. So this gives you a detail of what TOSI is, so you can read through that, see if it applies to you. Most likely it does not apply to you. So for my person test, it does not apply to me. I hit no, and now it's saving that, and bam, TurboTax is saying my return is accurate. That's always nice to see. I'm going to hit continue, and now you're going to verify your personal information. So that's going to be your SIN and your date of birth. So you're going to hit yes, I certify once your SIN and date of birth is correct. That's very important. And then voila. So that is it. You are done for the year. The next screen will ask you to either e-file the return or paper file it. Just follow the prompts, whatever way you decide. I'd also recommend that at the end, you download a copy of the return just to have for your records, especially if you are e-filing it. But that's it. That's how you use TurboTax. If you got value out of this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. If you have any other questions regarding filing your tax returns, please leave it in the comments below and I will do my best to help answer those questions. But that's all for today. I'm Nick from Nick's Taxes, and happy taxing.